Okay, so today we're going to learn how to do a standing barbell overhead press. This movement incorporates your deltoids, which are your shoulders and triceps. It's an upper body pushing exercise. So whenever you push, everything that you do from the shoulder down, you want to stay tight. Nothing else moves, nothing drops. Whenever you unrack the weight, everything should be just as tight as when you rack it. So, to show you how this is done, load the bar from the front. So I'm standing up nice and tall, everything's tight. My head, whenever I press, I'm going to move it out of the way, just so I don't catch my chin. So this is what it looks like. So whenever I press, also I breathe out on exertion. Standing overhead barbell press. Barbell push press. It's very similar to the barbell standing overhead shoulder press, except with the shoulder press, your body stays rigid, your core stays tight, and the only thing that moves are your shoulders. In other terms, your deltoids. When we do the push press, we're going to have a slight knee bend, and we're going to explode up and push it up overhead. So this is what it looks like. Sit up, nice and tight. Slight knee bend. Back. Breathing out an exertion. Slight knee bend. Help me. I'm in the right position. That's how to do a push press. So we're going to do the push jerk right now. It's very similar to the barbell standing overhead press and very similar to the push press. The only difference with this is once we load, everything is tight, and then with our knees dropped, with our knees bent, we're going to drive and try and catch underneath too. Okay, so this is kind of what it looks like. So, like I said, whenever I knee bend, same as push press, knee bend, whenever I stand up, I'm going to drop up, same as shoulder press or push press, but then I'm going to try and catch underneath. So it looks like this. Breathing out exertion.
Extra one bar. You know what I mean? Yeah. You would normally it's like 50%. You need to put that perfect. Because if you want the person who has no idea what they're doing.
Push jerk. Okay, so split jerk is what we're going to learn right now. It's very similar to the push jerk. The only difference is whenever we do the push jerk, we have the weight here on our front, load on our front, everything's tight. We dip, catch like this, and stand up. With the split jerk, it's the same setup, but whenever I go to drop, to catch, one foot goes out slightly out front to the left, and one foot goes slightly out back to the right. It gives me a solid base, and it doesn't allow me to tip over. Now, whenever I come back, little step by the front foot, big step by the back foot. Okay? A big mistake that a lot of people make is whenever they catch, they'll catch directly in a straight line. This is not okay because you can tip over from side to side. It's not practical, it's not strong. So I'll show you a couple how to do it, and we'll go from there. Starting from here, split drop, step in. Breathe on exertion. Split drop. Split drop. split jerk. Okay, so we're gonna do depth jumps today. So what we're gonna do is, it's a plyometric exercise. It incorporates the stretch shortening cycle. You start on the top of the box, of this box, you step off, you land in an athletic position. Whenever you land in your athletic position, you rebound up off the floor and onto the next box. This is what it looks like. So you lead with one foot, down.
Wanna be anarchy.
That's depth drop to jump. Today we're doing a barbell back squat. It's a lower body pushing exercise. It's a closed chain that engages your glutes, quads, and hamstrings. Whenever you set yourself under the bar, you want to make sure that your core is tight. You want to make sure that the bar is about collarbone level. Whenever you're setting up. You also want to make sure that you breathe out on exertion whenever you're performing the rep. You want to make sure that your knees travel over your toes and that your lower body, your lower half is tight so that your knees don't turn in whenever you're pressing. Also, you want to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart. So, looks like this. With the bar, nice and tight. Stand up straight, walk out, steps, looking straight ahead the whole time. Big breath in, big breath out. Back it nice and easy. Lower body pushing exercise, barbell back squat. Okay, barbell front squat. So, we just covered the barbell back squat. The difference, obviously, between the two is that this is going to be loaded on the front of your body. It's going to be loaded across your shoulders and across your clavicles right here. Now, for those who do have very good mobility, you can walk up the bar, place your hands a little shy of these lines, and you can walk under. Bring your elbows nice and forward. I'm lucky enough where I have this mobility, and you know that this is loaded on the right place because I can unrack it and hold it right here. Now, when I go to place my hands, my shoulder mobility will not let me do that. However, I do know I have it in the right place on my torso. So whenever I go to load it, I can perform it this way, or I can do a double overhand in this direction. Now, with the barbell front squat, it's the exact same as the back squat, except you're going to have a ton more core engagement. Okay, so whenever we do this, the barbell's going to want to pull you forward. The trick of it is to try and sit into your heels more, and to make sure that your quads and your hamstrings are engaged to a further extent. So, whenever we do this motion, you're going to feel this a lot more in your core and a lot more in your quads. So I'm going to show you a few reps of how it should look like. I'm going to do 4 or 5. Elbows nice and high, breathing out on exertion, core is nice and tight. Rack. Step out. Knees are going to go over my toes, and down, and up. Rack it nice and easy. That's a barbell front squat. Okay, barbell bench press. It's an upper body pushing exercise. It's an open chain. Whenever you bench, your body has 5 contact points between either the bench or the floor. So that's both of your feet, your bum and your glutes, your shoulder blades, and your head should all be in contact with the floor. Most people tend to bench a little wide whenever they start. So we want to come in a little narrow, and for me, narrower bench is pinky on the ring. So whenever you're gauging, the bar has these rings in order to make sure that your hands are evenly apart. Now, what happens with a lot of people is one side will be a little towards compared to the other. So we want to make sure that whenever we bench, that both sides travel the exact same plane, the exact same path, and then we press. We breathe in exertion. Okay. So 5 contacts on the bench. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pinkies on the ring. We got the rack. Nice big breath in. Press. Breath in. Get nice and easy. Come up. Barbell bench press. Okay, so we're doing the Turkish get up today. So I have my kettlebell here. I'm gonna lie right on my back, nice and flat. Pressing it high overhead. And the same leg is gonna, the same leg to which arm is up is gonna come up. So planting my foot here, nice and stable. Whenever I try to get up in my first progression, I'm gonna bring my kettlebell from here a little over to the side, over this knee, to bring a driving force to get me off the floor. Right hand is planted beside me for stability. So I'm just gonna lean across, shift my hips a little bit, across, readjust my hand a little bit, drive hips up. Whenever I drive my hips up, I shoot this foot back underneath, stand up. And then whenever I'm done, look at the kettlebell the whole time, I just reverse it. Come back down, hands planted firmly, foot shoots out, hips up, hips sink, and then slowly sink back down. So I'll do a couple more, just to show you. Hips up, turn underneath, adjusting my hand, stand up. Gently, Turkish get up. So we're going to do a deadlift today. It's a lower body pulling exercise. How it works is you walk into the bar, feet shoulder width apart, toes facing forward, shins up against the bar so they're touching. What you want to do is make sure that your core is nice and tight. Big breath in. We're going to try and sink, keep your back neutral or head neutral, sinking down, and grabbing at the torque grip. Going to sink my hips, drive through my heels, stand up nice and tall, and reverse. So I'll do a couple more reps. Deadlift. Okay, so next we're going to do the Romanian deadlift. Very similar to a conventional deadlift. However, instead of having a torque grip like this, we're going to have a double overhand, which is a pronated grip. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to walk up to the bar, feet shoulder width apart. Shins are touching the bar. Again, we're going to set up nice and tight, so our core is tight, back, spine, and head are neutral. So we're going to bend right over, sink our hips down. Okay? Deadlift with a pronated grip. Come up. Now, next thing that we're going to do is is we're going to have we're going to soften up our knees a little bit, and then we're going to bend through our hips. Now everything's still neutral, bending as far down as we can go. I'm touching the ground right now. Nice and slow, come back up. Lock out. Okay? So a few more reps. Breathing out on exertion. Romanian deadlift. Barbell bent over row. It's an upper body pulling exercise. Setup's the same as the deadlift and Romanian deadlift. So that means that our feet are shoulder width apart, shins are up against the bar when we set up. Now the only part that's the same is the first phase. So what we're going to do is we're deadlift the bar with a pronated grip, hands slightly wider than shoulder width apart. We're going to stand up nice and tall. We're going to keep everything neutral throughout the whole movement, but this is another chance to reset your core and make sure it's tight. So, pronated grip, hands a little wider than shoulder width apart, sinking your hips, deadlift to here. Okay, making sure that our core is tight, we're going to pivot at the hip, making sure everything's also neutral, bending right over, we're going to row it towards our body. Okay, that's one. Breathing out an exertion, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Setting the bar down slightly, gently. Barbell bent over row. So we're going to do a hang power clean. This is an Olympic lift. It's a full body movement. Setup for the first phase is very similar to a Romanian deadlift. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk up to the bar, shins touching the bar, making sure everything's nice and tight, our core is tight, spine's neutral, head's neutral. We're going to set up, have a pronated grip, just shy of our calves here. Sit into it, pick up, same as Romanian deadlift. Okay, now soft knees. Beginning of a Romanian deadlift to the top of the kneecap. Come up, catch. Hang power clean. Okay, so this is a glute ham raise. This is to target your hamstrings and your glutes, obviously. It's a lower body pulling exercise. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to sit nice and tall with our knees against the pad. Core is nice and tight, glutes are engaged, feet are locked in. We're going to lean forward with their glutes engaged, hamstrings tight, we're going to pull back, okay? So it looks like this. Extending, pulling through. Extending, pulling through. Okay, so I'll do a couple more so you can see, breathing out an exertion, and that'll be it. Okay, so we're going to do the double leg reverse hyperextension. So with that, this is this exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to lie our torso on top of this pad so that our hips fall flush with this pad, the edge of this pad. So torso's up here, hips come down here, creating a 9-degree angle. Basically, what's going to happen is our glutes are going to engage, and we're going to extend through the hip. So our legs will come up, controlled by your glutes, back down. Okay, so my foot's in the stirrup right now. Feet over, foot over, grasp the handles, nice and tight. Now, whenever I do this movement, I engage my glutes, extend to the hip, in a nice controlled fashion. So, just like that.
Start fall, press the foot, down, step out, step out. This is the double leg reverse effort.